and welcome back to yet another game. We will have as many of these as we can, as long as we don't win. So we're back on the second book of the Bloodsword series.
Don't worry, we never died. Everything went swell, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I dropped my recorded my one of my video game controls. Okay, that's fine. It was a cheap one anyway. So, right now we have been able to go all the way to the Palace of Eternal Dusk. We have beaten the elves at checkers. We have outrun the Frost Hounds, and we have bypassed the Guardian of the Palace. Now we will be facing a choice. Just a moment, I'm getting back the paragraph in which we were. And of course I don't have it, but I have thing to record my page here. There we go. We are now faced with a choice. Do we still take the Gate of Carnage? Or do we take instead the Gate of Confusion or the Gate of Death? We know by our previous visit that the Gate of Carnage has some hefty combat trials and a mountain of skulls which will avalanche on us. But it also has some nice things, like if we defeat the barbarian to a duel, we get a fancy magic axe for our warrior. So,
Yeah.
what do you say?
No reaction at all.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not important. It's not important that the warrior get the axe.
Well, it is a magical axe that you can throw and actually goes back, regardless if you hit or not, which gives it a big advantage over the dagger of Vislet.
Yes. I very much like to have the axes.
So, what do either of you say? I mean by that, Andre, what do you think we should do?
I am fine if we go through the Carnage path again.
Okay.
Well, tempting to get another orb, but we do not know if we'll still get the axe.
Well, we won't. We clearly won't. I'm not saying that from experience. I'm just saying that based on what I've been able to see in the books written by Dave Morris and Oliver Johnson, when they give us a choice, it will only rejoin later. And by that I mean there will be a point where all roads go into a focal point, but it won't be to the barbarians, I'm sure of it.
Well, then I say the axe is a very good alternative to the warrior to give a good share of balance and additional help, since for him throwing a weapon is very great and very helpful in case we need him to strike something from far behind.
Okay.
So I'd go with the same orb.
So what about you, Francis?
Yeah, let's go with the Gate of Carnage. Hopefully we will survive this time around.
Just remember, if we cross the room with the wall of with the little slit, we don't take time to inspect the room. We just run.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Gate of Carnage and go to paragraph 528. 528. The razor-sharp prongs at the bottom of the portcullis of the Gate of Carnage are stained with human blood. Crushed skeleton lie beneath it. Their rusty suits of armor punctured by the deadly spike. You realize that you will have to rush swiftly into the chamber. You can see beyond the gate if you are to avoid a similar fate. Your mind is made up when you hear the roar of the guardian beast right behind you. Without further ado, you throw yourself into the room and the portcullis crashes down behind you, barring you from the creature. The beast slavers and spits through the lattice work of the portcullis, but you are careful to keep out of range of its acidic globs. You walk through a shadowy chamber hung about with musty tapestries and littered with crumbling furniture that falls to dust when you touch it. Eventually, you reach the entrance of a round chamber with a higher vaulted ceiling. Looking in, you see that there are a number of arrow slits set into the wall at head height. A heavy barred door stands on the opposite side of the room. Then I'm asked to change paragraph, which I will do. 157. And there we are given the choice of either rushing through the room and try to open the door, or take our time and search the room first. we know what searching the room first does. Why don't we try the other one?
Yep.
Sure.
And then suddenly another trap come out, and we all die in a pit of spikes.
Well, as a thing, we know that the trap comes out.
Yeah, but there could be another one. A trap inside a trap.
Alright, crouching low to avoid arrow shots, you fling yourself towards the door. You have nearly reached it when the floor opens up and you fall through a trapdoor. In a multiplayer group, the first 2 players stumble into the trap. If there are only 1 or 2 players in a group, turn to 213. If some player did not fall, they should turn to 39. According to the fighting order, meaning the sage and myself are still upstairs. So, 39. 4 arrows fly from the slits. Distribute these shots evenly between any players left. Each arrow does 1d6 damage with armor protecting as normal. So let's do the arrows. So I'll start with Pierre. I will throw 2 arrows at you. Just
Okay,
a
so
moment.
1d6
Yeah, I will. Oh, okay, you're
each
doing
arrow.
it. Okay, so if you're doing it, that's all right. Just roll 2d6 for yourself. So you roll the first one 4 and the
5
second one 1.
minus armor, right?
Yeah, minus armor, meaning you only get 2 damage.
So what you're saying is that it's an unavoidable trap with damage.
Well, technically, if you're in a party of 2 adventurers and you rush it in, you technically don't get any damage by the arrows. But if you are a party of more, then it becomes difficult. Well, we still have less damage than if we went carefully.
No, that's for sure.
Alright. Okay, so on my end, I will be inflicted 1 damage and 3 damage, meaning a total of 4. A little more damage for me. Alright. So that is done. Now, with that, I go to 213 and we will continue falling. You plummet in total darkness, now down a nearly vertical shaft. Flashes of naked steel glint in the dim light as you fall, and you feel your clothing being torn to shreds by razor-sharp metal blades jutting from the walls. You see a reddish glow at the bottom of the chute, apparently hurtling towards you at great speed as you topple downwards. Do you try to break your fall by grabbing hold of the walls? If so, turn to 354, or if you're prepared to take whatever damage lies ahead of you at the bottom of the chute, turn to 431. I do want to remind each player that if you try to stop your movement, your hands will be torn to shred and you will reduce your fighting prowess by 1 for the rest of the adventure.
So answer is no. I let myself fall and I won't lose any fighting prowess.
I will also let myself fall if you don't mind. What about you, warrior?
Free fall it is for me.
And trickster?
Free falling.
Alright, that's a common decision, so 431.
I had the same song in head.
Hmm?
I meant to say that I had the same song in my head.
Uh-huh.
Land heavily on a pile of lice-infested
good
straw. Each player loses 1d6 endurance for the fall, and armor protects player from this damage in the usual way. So please each roll 1d6 and remove armor for that. I take an additional 4 damage. 2 damage, I mean.
2 damage for me. 2 damage. 15.
Oh, the trickster gets a heavy fall. Probably one of us fell on him.
Minus armor?
Minus armor.
Well, nothing for me, I think.
1 for you. You still have
1.
those
Oh,
for 2.
1. Okay.
Alright.
Almost.
Okay. With that, you see that you are in a high-ceilinged wooden hall. The timbers are bathed in a smoldering red glow as if they were on the point of bursting alight. At long tables around the hall, red-bearded warriors with skin tinged the color of flames sit quaffing mead. At the far end of the hall, the hearth fire casts a shuddering light upon the huge form of the chieftain. He is more than 2.5 meters tall, and his axe beside him is no shorter. He stands beside a gilded treasure chest, which, though larger than any you have ever seen, is not as broad as his great shoulders. I hut boars, he bellows in the Mercanian tongue, governor of this gang. His words may be unclear, but his tone cannot be mistaken. He is issuing a challenge to mortal combat. So, we can step forward and fight, or we can refuse the challenge.
Can I heal you all?
Well, yes, at the end of this paragraph, you can attempt a heal. So first,
I will.
sacrifice a certain
Fight.
amount of endurance.
Do prepare a healing salve in case.
Yep, I will. And that's a 4, meaning that you can twice that amount, which means you can
6.
redistribute 6 endurance to everyone. So do with it as you please. But do remember that the warrior and trickster will probably be on the front lines.
Yeah.
While you do that, I will actually try and prepare a spell. Which spell do you think I should prepare? I could go with Eye of the Tiger to buff you. I could go with.
No, wait.
So I could go with Eye of the Tiger to buff you. I could go for the, of course, always
There,
favorite Nemesis spell.
2 hit points for the warrior and 1 hit points for the rogue.
Trickster.
Thank you.
Trickster. I mean, 11 is sufficient for me. It seems okay.
Okay. As for my question, guys, which spell do you think will be the most efficient to deal with this chieftain? He is a single enemy, so I could either take the time to buff all of you, or I could prepare a heavy damage spell.
Hmm. Well,
But I have the red orb of carnage still.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it for the for this guy. This guy seems mad.
He's alone.
Well, I say that, and you technically died fighting him last time, but
Yeah, you're right. I did die last time.
well, you do have the item, so if you decide to use it, I'm not going to be able to stop you.
but it could be used to stop the ceremony that turned me into a zombie and
Well,
stuff like that.
Well, now we
Later
actually
on.
have a we actually have the amber
Box.
the amber tank
Oh.
box, yeah, which can
Oh.
be used to save you from the ritual.
As long as
See,
the enchanter doesn't die with it that time, we're okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened
Yeah.
past that, because if you don't remember, I did pass out quite after dying quite quickly.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but at this point, like I said, do you want to use the Orb of Carnage?
I'll see how the fight starts off, because I can use it during the combat, can't I?
That is correct. You can use it before the combat starts or during the combat as an action.
Yeah, so I'll just see how the fight goes, and if things start going sour for me, then I'll figure something else out.
Okay, but what about me? I could dish out some heavy damage, or I could buff you. I don't think I have enough psychic ability to do both, though.
Well, do we want to get buff or do?
Like a +1 to fighting prowess and damage.
Well, that's not bad, honestly. I think that it could give us a little upper advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or I could
Yeah.
Nemesis bolt his face.
yeah. That's the
but
juicy.
But then again, Nemesis Bolt is never guaranteed. I've been extremely lucky in the past, but it doesn't say that it will last.
While you're still the Sonic, I'm gonna grab more pizza.
So what about this? I will have the warrior earn his axe. I will not deal heavy damage. I will first buff and then prepare damage spells.
Fine with me.
Okay. Well, that would work.
Alright, so we will answer to the challenge at paragraph 92. And the chieftain lifts his axe above his head and utters a gale of battle-crazed laughter. The other barbarians begin to chant and bang the tables with their huge fists. They are eager to see blood spilled. Your blood.
Sorry, had a little problem with my connection, but it's back again.
Okay, that is a weird thing. Maybe if you did not watch YouTube video and stream with us, maybe your internet would be a little faster. Just saying.
But the music.
Oh, I can put music. Well, not good one, but I'm kidding. I will be able to set up the stats. So to remind you, the stats of the chieftain
Hello?
is fighting prowess of 8. Yes, Pierre, I'm able to hear you.
You still hear me?
Yes, I can still hear you. Do you hear me?
I think there's another voice that's coming through. I'm not sure who it is.
Mm-hmm. So Pierre, was you still able to hear us?
I'm not listening to music, so it's not me. And even if I were,
I'm back.
So yeah, Pierre, what
Welcome
I was
back.
saying is that since our internet seems finicky at the moment, could you just try not to have your YouTube at the same time as Discord? It seems to influence here.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Just to avoid any kind of miscommunications.
Alright.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm setting up the stats of the chieftain. He's currently with a physical prowess of 8, which gives him a good chance of hitting. 2 dice 6 plus 1 damage, which makes him hit like a mule. Psychic ability of 6, awareness of 7, armor rating of 1, and 30 endurance points. Okay, with that, just set up his attributes. And bring us all into the battle map. Whoop. And setting up the space. Alright, so the trickster will be up there, the warrior will be there. Sage directly under it. We have the enchanter right here. We will have the chieftain sitting gladly here. I will set up his stats now. Okay, and make sure that everyone can see it. There we go, you should see his hit points now. Okay, as per the battle map, it will be fairly simple. Just draw polygon itself. And that's pretty much it. We can technically, can we flee? No, we cannot. We either kill him or we put servile enthrallment on him, and I just don't like that spell at all. Alright, so let's set up the turn order and let's include the chieftain. I'll just... Can I just change their name here? No. So warrior, sage, and enchanter. I just prefer that to the rest. Let's delete that, and there we go. Alright, so the trickster will start the fight.
Stab the beast.
Alright. And
I missed.
you're still not buffed, but that will come. Alright, chieftain will now target one of you poor sods. Meaning he will target the warrior. He will hit and inflict a total of 9 damage. Minus armor, of course.
There you go.
yeah, well, that's a good start.
It's a very good start. Okay, so the rest of us will play. If you don't mind, I will attempt to buff us as quickly as we can.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So I need, with my current psychic ability, to hit 5 or less. That's not ideal. Alright, so you can continue.
Oh, and don't worry, I haven't access to YouTube. I just digged in my own music on my computer, so it shouldn't affect the internet.
Oh yeah, by the way, other players, do you want music?
Damn, that's a low amount of damage. That
Well,
there's just ugly.
well, it's +2 damage, right? That you have. 1d6 +2, correct?
Yeah,
So
but I noticed.
you still do 2 damage. At least there's that.
I'm gonna shot an arrow.
You don't have a lot.
Well, still I would be at 6, right? Well, yeah, because we got back in time, right?
You did get back in time. I don't think you spent any arrows in that timeline. So yeah, get back to 6.
So
Yeah, you did have 6 arrows.
there you go. Well, then I'll use one on him because he's still dangerous. I mean, we shouldn't underestimate him, right?
I understand. Do whatever you think is
And
best then. That's the
no, I
closest we
hit.
can get to a critical hit. How many damage?
Yes,
3. Well, that's still 2 damage on his... But any...
2 is better than none.
That is correct. Any piece of damage will contribute. Alright, with our turn, it is now the Trickster's turn. That's a miss. Clear miss. Whatever you were trying to do, it's missed. So it will be the Chieftain's turn. And on that, he will target the Trickster and will miss. So that's great. So it will now be the rest of our group's turn. So I will attempt the buff once again. This time I get it on a 6 or less.
Good luck.
That's still a miss. Alright, you can do whatever you want. You hit. Oh, that's more damage. So it almost
Maximum damage.
on his head. There we go. That's a huge chunk of life removed. What about you, Sage?
Arrow still. Miss.
Unfortunate. You do lose another arrow. Don't forget to remove both of your arrows.
There we go.
Alright, Trickster, it will be back to you. That's a miss again. Unfortunate. The Chieftain will have a turn, so he will target the Trickster once again. And he misses again. Thank you, Trickster. Now,
Thank you, sir,
back to us.
for saving our asses.
That's correct. Alright, so I attempt the spell once again. This time 7 or less is required.
Do it.
That one is a hit,
Yes.
which means that we are back with all a bonus for the next 5 rounds of +1 to fighting prowess and damage. So use it well.
Die, you heretic.
Oh, that's yay! 8 damage more. Warrior, you're on fire today. That might be the
Yes.
prospect of having the axe, which is boiling your blood.
Yes, I need that axe.
Alright, what about you, Sage?
Well, everything seems to go swell, so I'll kind of hold to my arrow because we might need some few arrows later.
So is there something else
just-
that you
I'll
want to do?
I'll just chill and watch you kill that man.
There's a suggestion which might be dangerous. You could get closer to the chieftain to provide like 3 targets instead of 2. But that's...
If I die, I won't be able to heal you a lot.
That is true. Very, very true. So, you do what you want. Because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Alright,
I'll stay there.
Trickster, now with your buffs, will you hit? And yes, you will. That is great damage. And that's counting your bonus, right? That's counting your
Yes.
buff. Alright, well, he's still on the Article of Death, but since it is a raging berserker which enjoys battles, he will still keep fighting. He will target the Trickster. He will hit, despite the dodge bonus, and he will inflict a total of 3 damage minus armor. Wow. He's been very weakened by your blows.
Yeah.
So 1 damage to the Trickster. Alright, the rest of us can basically wail on him. On my end, I don't think I need to do anything, but I will prepare a spell just in case. Let's say a white fire. Alright, you can do whatever you want, the rest of the group.
Me, I will wait until they kill him.
Alright, warrior.
Give me a sec.
No problem. I'm
I'm
currently
rolling
setting up.
my dice.
Yeah, I'm currently setting up my character
And
sheet.
failing horribly at it.
Okay,
That's a critical failure.
that is sad. What
I
about...
stab my toes with my
So,
sword.
Sage, you really do nothing at the moment? So you're still waiting, I mean?
Yes.
Alright.
Shoot an arrow to it.
Well, the tricksters still have one chance of killing it before the chieftain strikes again.
Hmm.
So, trickster, it will be your turn. And that's a hit. How many damage? Oh, just not enough.
What do you mean, just not enough?
He has armor of 1.
Yes.
Meaning that this 4 of damage minus 1 goes 3. And meaning
Plus
that
1 because I have the tiger. No.
No.
Calculated
It's
it.
already implemented in my roll.
That is
Oh!
correct.
Sorry.
So, the chieftain will be... Next, he will target, this time the warrior. He will miss. So that's great. That is great news.
No, I will.
Yeah, no, warrior. Yeah,
I
we'll
will
let you
have
the
to
finishing
hit
blow.
him again.
Oh, yeah.
And it works. Now
Yeah.
die.
Yo, yeah, maximum damage.
Again, maximum damage.
Yeah, 3 times. Alright,
That's
he is dead.
Hey, there you go. I saved ourselves 1 arrow, which is great.
yeah.
Absolutely. Alright, I'll just remove the battlegrounds. And then I will bring us back to the map. There we go. For the Lungs of Legend. Alright. So, if you kill him, go to 451. 451.
Yep.
You turn from the body, wiping sweat from your eyes in the stifling heat, and stand ready to face the chieftain's thanes. However, instead of attacking you, they roar in approval. One of them gets up and lurches drunkenly over to you, thrusting an ivory drinking horn into your hands before slumping back onto his stool. Make a note of the ivory drinking horn if you want to keep it, then turn to 334. So, anybody wants to keep the horn?
Yes, I will.
Alright, so put that into your inventory. And then, Sage, do you want to patch us up a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
I'll keep that around, just in case. Alright. So, 3. Let's see if you manage to heal us good. That's
Nope.
unfortunate. You lose them.
Yeah, I know.
So, let's go.
Next paragraph, don't worry.
Yeah, 334. Alright. You wrench open the chest standing by the wall. In it, you find a battle axe with a gold-bound shaft. If you have the Sage in your party, go to 541. So while I go to 541, Sage, you can attempt another heal if you want. Alright, let's roll that die. Oh, that's better. You double that amount, so you can put the back 6. I recommend you put them all on you.
Yeah, that was my plan.
Okay. So, with a sharp intake of breath, you recognize that before you lies the fabled axe of Airclaws, it would be useful in the end of the warrior. I'm just skipping the description because we already saw it. So, decide which player which going to pick up the axe. Once this has been decided, we turn to 454.
Axe of what?
Heraclos. It is written like such. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Eve, I think that you will give it to the warrior as usual.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Now you can attempt another heal as I go to the next paragraph.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Did you sacrifice any hit points for that? Oh yeah, you
3.
sacrificed 3. So you get back 12.
Alright, so 12.
Yeah, heal yourself back completely, like 7.
7.
So there's 5 left to redistribute. Just pick me last at this point.
So I'll go 4 on the warrior, 1 on the rogue.
He is a trickster. He's not a rogue.
Ah, damn it, trickster.
All right. Then the next paragraph is very short. It says, if the warrior takes the axe, turn to 130. So that means you can have another attempt at healing if you want, Sage.
Yeah, but the warrior, did you heal the 4?
To fall?
4.
Yeah.
4 damage,
Oh.
not full.
4 damage.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, it is done.
All right. Now you can attempt another healing if you want.
Okay.
Heal me.
Okay, for
Heal
2.
those wounds.
And you
Right.
double that amount, so you can bring yourself back 2 and heal 2 points of damage back to anyone you want.
Okay. So, 1 on the trickster, 1 on the warrior.
All right, thanks for that. All right, so as you do that, warrior, I will read to you what happens. You immediately sense that you are holding a mighty weapon. It adds 1 to your fighting prowess, though, of course, if you already have a magical weapon that adds to your fighting prowess, then you cannot fight with it and the axe at the same time. The axe also adds +1 to your damage scores, so this time 1d6 plus 3. Using it, you can choose the throw option in combat. This is like the shoot option for sages and tricksters, but the axe, when thrown, does 1d6 plus 1 damage. It can be thrown up to 3 squares on any battle map, and it will immediately return to your hand for use in the following round. So this one has an actual range of 3 squares.
Okay. Noted.
The axe will function only for you and works differently for non-warriors. If you are killed, the next person to touch it will be its rightful owner. He or she can find out its power by referring to paragraph 400. Alright, that's the end of the paragraph. I will go to 226. The Sage, you can attempt another healing if you want.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
That's sad. But then again, as you watch, the glowing red walls of the wooden hall appear to burst suddenly into flame, although you feel no heat from the blaze. On the far wall, you see a passage appearing beyond the wall of fire. You advance along the passage, which soon ends in a bridge that slopes up over a deep chasm. Hundreds of meters below you, you can hear, but not see, the crashing torrent that has chiseled out the gorge over thousands of years. The ramp bridge ends in a gate tower on the opposite edge of the chasm. You see 2 halberds floating in the air above the bridge, one on either side of it. At first, you're puzzled by this strange sight, then realize that the halberds must be wielded by sylphs, invisible creatures that are almost impossible to defeat in normal combat. Still, you know that there's only one way ahead, and that is forwards. There is room for only one person on the bridge. So we have some choices. We can shoot arrows at one of the invisible sylphs. If not, we can decide which of the following characters is going to be the first to cross the bridge: a sage, a warrior, an enchanter, or a trickster. So last time we actually decided to use the warrior, which tried to disarm them until they lost the will to fight. Do we still go with it, or do we change to another character?
I try to heal you.
Okay, so yes, that's great.
I fail.
Alright, so who will try to cross the bridge?
But I already know what I must do.
What do you mean?
Well, to cross it correctly, yeah.
Well, we only tried one thing, and it was to let the warrior cross it and disarm those sylphs. Which means the warrior
No, but
will...
we... weren't we having all a different challenge on that one?
Nope.
Okay. Well then, yeah, the warrior, clearly.
So your vote goes for the warrior. What about you, warrior?
But don't
Do
you want to
another
see
one
a
to try?
different path?
I'd like to see someone try a different approach, but yeah.
Well, is there anyone that would be volunteering for that? I'm not exactly sure I want to fight an invisible enemy with great swords myself, so I will pass. Especially with my 9 endurance right now.
Well then, why not the trickster?
wants me to do it, and I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
I mean, what? Out of the game meta?
Hmm?
Oh, because we were talking about it outside of the game at work.
Okay.
I will sacrifice myself to play around with giant swords.
Alright. So, you stride out onto the bridge. Do you want to rely on swordplay or cunning to overcome the sylphs?
Cunning.
Alright, since you made that decision, Sage, will remind you that you still have some time to do a 1 heal if you want.
Sure. Fail.
That's a shame. Alright, you observed that the two sylphs follow different tactics. One moves in over the bridge to block your path, attacking with sweeping strokes of his halberd. The other hovers to your left and jabs at you with short linear motions. Since their fighting styles are so rigid, you might be able to get them to hit one another. This will call for some fleetness of foot. Each round, instead of attacking them, you can try to roll awareness or less on 2 dice. If you succeed, the sylphs miss you and accidentally strike each other for 1d6 plus 3 damage. If you fail,
That's
their
nice.
roll determine whether they hit you in the usual way. Once you are sure of the procedure, we will turn to 100 for the combat, which means we still have 1 heal attempt that can be done.
And he has a lot of awareness. That's not bad.
It is not bad.
If I fail, use a solve.
Yeah, and if
Oh,
he
And
yeah.
I
fails,
How many
get
did
it
you spend?
super good.
How many did you spend?
4.
4. Okay, so
4.
you get back 16. So put at least 11 on your own. That will be good.
Yeah.
Alright, that means there's still 5 points that you can redistribute.
Yeah. So 2 to the warrior, 2 to the trickster, and 1 for you.
Thank you. Eventually, I will have full health. Eventually. Alright, now we will switch to paragraph 100 for the fight. Alright. This is not going to be an easy fight because you cannot see your opponents. You can see the heavy pole arms well enough though, and feel them too. You must make your fight rolls on 3 dice against these invisible beings. That is if you're fighting the normal way. Alright, I'll prepare the stats for each of the sylphs. So each sylph has a fighting prowess of 7. They inflict 1d6 plus 3 damage. So sylph, fighting prowess of 7. Damage below bow 1d6 plus 3. So ouchie damage if they get us. Psychic ability of 8, because they are of course magical beings. An awareness of 8, meaning they still act the same turn as the trickster. They each have no armor rating whatsoever. And they each have 14 points of endurance. Okay. Well, 14 is not that big, but it's about as much as you have. About. So, let's see how it goes. So, let's move up to the fighting arena. We will remove anyone away because they're not on the bridge. You are. I'll put you there. I'll put a sort of... no, not like that. So that is... The bridge is what is white. The rest is like filing damage to your death.
So jump off the bridge.
Yeah, if you want to die right here. So there will be a sylph right here. What did I put a C for a sylph? A sylph is with an S. I'll just correct that.
And we cannot assist them, right?
We cannot.
Okay.
Because this is a rope bridge which is very frail and finicky, meaning that only one person at a time can cross. I'm not exactly sure why other peoples cannot like throw arrows or cast spells, but it's apparently not an option.
Good luck.
Alright, I'll just set up their stats. this one first, then. And there we go. I won't remove us, but our contribution will not be counted. Anyway, the selves have an equal initiative tracker. By the way, Thief, you have the option to flee. If you reach that square, you can decide to take the flee action.
Okay.
Just for the purposes of this. So, okay. So,
So I need to roll my awareness or under 3 times.
what do you mean 3 times?
Well, I'm supposed to be doing this cunning and I'm not fighting, right?
That is correct. In your turn, you can decide instead to do your awareness or less on 2 dice.
Okay, sorry. 2 dice.
Yes, 2 dice.
Alright, let's see if I can do this.
Alright.
Nope.
Nope. So they will attack you normally. So the first one attempts and hits, but barely. So it inflicts 7 damage. The second one will miss. Alright. It will be back to
Sorry,
you.
what did the second one? The second one miss?
Yeah, the second one missed.
Alright, let's try to dodge again.
This time,
And I dodged.
you dodge. So, the way I described it, so each of them takes 1d6 plus 3 damage, right? Just a moment. I'll just read back the description. Just a moment. If you succeed, then miss you and accidentally strike each other for 1d6 plus 3 damage. Great. Okay, so first at the top will hit for 9 damage. This one on the left, and the one on the left will strike for 7 damage. The one on the top.
That's decent damage.
That's very decent damage. Far better than if he had fought them fair and square. So, Trickster, it's back to you. Because
Yeah,
if they
I-
strike each other, they actually
Hey,
don't
I
have
missed
a turn.
again.
If
My
they strike
awareness
you-
is great.
Exactly. So if you succeed, they don't have a turn. They instead hit each other with their action. So the one at the left will strike the one at the top for... no, I rolled 2 dice for some reason. So the one at the top will strike the one at the left for a total of 6 damage, killing it. But not before the other one on the left will strike the one at the top for 9 damage, killing it instantly. So yeah,
Good job.
Sylphs are dead.
Huzzah.
Excellent job. Alright, I'll just remove the battlegrounds.
I will drink
What
the
sorry?
You're
Yuri
not
cup
allowed
for
to
you.
attempt a healing right now.
No, I know it's because sometime on my trackpad is very sensitive. That's why.
Okay. Alright, so you succeeded in killing them both. That's great. I was afraid that one of them would die before the other, and then you would have to fight the normal way the rest of the Sylph, but you're good. We can proceed.
No,
then.
I had this all planned from the beginning.
Yeah. That's great.
Yep.
By the way, just because I know what's lying ahead of me, I will prepare the spell of immediate deliverance like right away. Because the next one will depend on my luck on the die, and I'm not looking forward to it. Do I have anything that's important that I should give you? Actually, no. I don't have any money, and I just have like rations. Do you want rations?
Nope.
Okay, anyone wants to hold onto the healing salve for me? There's still 4 charge for 1d6 endurance.
I could use it. Yeah.
Do you still have inventory space?
Yeah. I can hold it for you.
You don't have inventory space left.
Do I?
No, you don't.
Okay, I don't. Good. I cannot then.
Trickster is
the-
also full, and Warrior is
Well-
also full. So basically, if I die, you lose the healing salve, which is not that bad because you
I
still have
can
the
make
salve.
room. I can make room for something, Adam.
But I could drop the leopard fur cloak. I don't think we need it.
I don't actually remember if we needed the still. We already arrived at the Palace of Eternal Dusk. So
I mean, we we will eventually have to get out of there, but I don't know. Do I need the iron ration?
Well, the rations, maybe. I don't know. We haven't had to walk a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, I can always throw the scabbard of bloodsword away again.
No.
No.
All right. Let's just assume I will succeed and not consider the possibility of defeat.
No. Because if you fail, okay.
Then again, if the trickster fails, we all die. That's okay. Because he has the
Yeah,
scabbard
we
of the
all die.
bloodsword.
That doesn't mean I will succeed.
Yeah. Alright, so dark rolling clouds rise up from the chasm depths as you advance toward the gate tower at the other side of the bridge. The bridge gently slopes, and you hasten up in toward the gates. Suddenly, there's a loud crack, and the gates swing open, spilling out a cascade of human skulls and blood which rushes towards you, a gory tide that will wash off the bridge. Each player must deal with the danger his or her own way, starting with the first player in the battle order. An enchanter should turn to 178. So we'll have different paragraphs. Sage, you still have one attempt at healing us if you want to attempt it.
Sure. Just 1 minute.
No problem.
Can you please show me my hit points?
Well, it is shown.
Wait. Oh, okay, good. Brum, brum, brum. Brum, 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 brum.
Let's see if you're lucky. Well, you
Good,
get
good.
it back. You get them back. You get them back.
Well, better than nothing.
All right. All right. So, who do we deal first with? Well, since the trickster will determine whether or not we fail this, or because he might plummet to his death with the scabbard of the bloodsword, why don't we start with him?
Okay.
409. Anyway, everyone has to pass through it. You're renowned for nimbleness of both body and mind. Which will save you now, agility or quick thinking? That's the question. You have to choose either agility or quick thinking to save yourself.
Agility.
Alright, let's see for agility. 368. By the way, it's a change of paragraph, so Sage, you know what to do.
I failed.
Okay, well, sorry. You realize that the speed of the torrent, which is what makes it so dangerous, could also work in your favor. If it hits you, it will dash you from the bridge, but it is moving so fast that if you jump up, it will pass underneath you in an instant. You must time your jump exactly. You focus your gaze on one of the tumbling skulls. Was he once an adventurer like you? The empty eyes are staring into yours, and you know the moment has come when you must act. Alright, so roll 2 dice. If you get equal or under your awareness, you flip in a forward somersault that carries you over the wave of blood and bones to safety. If you score more than your awareness, you mistime the jump and get washed off the bridge to your death in the chasm far below. No pressure.
No pressure at all.
Succeed. Yay!
That is sweet.
Alright, change of paragraph. Sage?
You have a skull staring at you for the eternity.
Yeah. Come on.
So we got one person that succeeded. That's great. Let's see if the rest of the party can survive.
Yeah.
Good roll.
Good roll.
Got 12.
That gets you back 12 points.
Yes.
So you can spend 6 on yourself.
So
And you still
I
have 6
spend 5 on the trickster, 1 on the enchanter.
That's great.
Slowly getting there, Adam.
It's okay. If I die right now, in a way, you won't have to heal me.
Please stop saying you will die.
I just like putting the stress on you. Anyway, so, now, who do we go with? Warrior, Sage? I'll go last just for pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I
think
know.
Enchanter should go next.
I know what I need to do. I need to roll 3 dice, right?
Where we're gonna check. That was for the 3 dice was for disarming the sylphs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
warrior 74. By the way, we're changing paragraph, Sage.
Dum, dum, dum.
It's like a small reminder that you need to heal us.
Okay, warrior, you succeed automatically.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
sure.
So
Because I'm badass.
So you have 8 points, by the way, Sage, to redistribute, which is enough to heal us both.
there you go. Go nuts.
Here's why you succeed automatically, warrior. That's because you must roll your endurance or less in a roll of 3 dice 6.
I'm at full health, so I automatically succeed.
Even
But
with
I
3 6s, you get it.
for legitimacy's sakes, I will roll the 3 dice for 6 and automatically succeed.
There you go. Now you're able to withstand the thing. So the Sage, I think it will be an automatic win for you as well. So let's see. Because if I'm not mistaken, you succeeded the first time by answering the right question.
Yeah, it was a logical one.
So, obviously, levitation is the appropriate psionic discipline. So, will you cancel for your mind all thoughts of the onrushing torrent, or will you focus your intention of floating over it?
Cancel all my thoughts, so I am zen and serene. That's what I did
believe
last
this
time, and
was
it
the right
worked.
answer. So let's see. You blank out.
That's
all
what worked
thought-
last time.
You blank out all thought of the great tide of blood and bone that is nearly on top of you, caring not whether you live or die. Life and death are both in the mind, which is itself but an illusion. When you open your eyes, you find yourself floating in midair, and the torrent has already passed under you. You settle back on the surface of the bridge. That is great. So, now, since I don't have a flying carpet, I will need to succeed on casting 1 spell.
You got the hard part, man. Good luck.
Alright, so 1d6. How will you avoid the danger? You can either try to the spell of immediate deliverance or use a magic carpet. So I can only try the spell of immediate deliverance. 555.
Good luck.
Well, I prepared it in advance, giving me an advantage over the last time. You have 3
Yeah,
rounds
sure.
in which you call the spell to mind if you hadn't already and cast it. If you succeed, you teleport to a point onto the bridge near behind the torrent of blood and are saved. If you fail, you are swept off the bridge and fall into your doom on the chasm below. Okay, so on my end, what level is the immediate deliverance? It's level 2, meaning I need to succeed on 5 or less, 6 or less, or 7 or less in 3 attempts. Alright, first attempt, 5 or less. That is a fail. Second attempt, 6 or less. That is
Good.
a success. We all passed successfully. Congratulations.
Bonfire this! Bonfire this! Please!
Alright. Alright, so we succeeded. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Here is my suggestion. Once all surviving players are safe, we turn to 35. And may I have one player to keep a checkpoint on the paragraph number 35? I think we deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I'm
So you're gonna do the checkpoint, Andre?
Yeah, I'll
35.
checkpoint it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for checkpointing us.
Okay, it is the time of the Grim Reaper. And I will ask this as clear as possible. Who will be in the first marching order? We need to determine that right away. Will we still get the warrior on the first marching order? Or do we change it? It will have an effect.
Yeah, always stays more laid back to heal. So yeah, no, it won't be me.
Okay. I'm saying right away, Whoever will pass the Grim Reaper test will have a slight advantage stat-wise.
We'll have a what?
A
You
slight
cut out there.
advantage stat-wise.
My stats aren't that important, so that I'm mostly the one that heals and shoots from far away. So I'll leave
Yeah,
that to
but
someone more
you said
efficient.
it was like a Grim Reaper? Doesn't that sound dangerous?
It does. It's not dangerous for the ones. Here's the thing. I'd want us to get that stat advantage, and I already know how we can get it. So, it's basically fail-proof. There's no roll of the dice involved. I'm seeing that right away.
Okay, so who is going to go first to get the failsafe?
Because
Trickster.
All right.
my
I'll
suggestion
go
will
first.
go for the trickster as well, actually. But that's the warrior could also benefit from it. Both of them are in a very good position of benefiting from that stat boost.
All right. Let's have some fun with the Grim Reaper.
Okay.
It sounds so wrong.
You enter the gatehouse. A number of pallid men and women in dusty finery shuffle around the floor in a mournful dance, although you can hear no music. Gradually, they notice you, and one by one they stop dancing. At last, you feel all eyes on you as you cross the hall. You look back. The dancers have gone, and now you see just a room festooned with cobwebs in which large grey spiders run frantically to and fro. Somewhere, as if from a great distance, you hear shrieks, whether the mirth of anguish you cannot tell. Whether of mirth or anguish you cannot tell, and a discordant music of jangling bells, pipes, and lyres. You approach a stone door bearing this inscription of its lintel: "Ere is thy journey's end. After life's fitful fever, sleep thee well." Just a question, Trickster, are you the one that has the amber tinderbox?
No.
Great. Who has
Great.
the amber tinderbox?
Mm.
I'll check my character sheet as well to make sure.
I don't think I am.
We did take the... yeah, no, it's the Sage. The Sage has it. Great. We're fine.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, you do. It's your 10th equipment slot.
Sweet.
So it's does the trickster add to have it
No,
in his
no.
inventory
Actually,
or not?
it's the one that should not have it, for us to be okay.
Oh, okay.
You push at the door, which opens with a groan. Even the distant music stops. You wait in silence and deep darkness for several heartbeats. Then a grey glimmer partially illuminates the gloom. You see that you are standing in a chamber with 8 very high walls. In front of you looms a door. It shimmers in the light cast by 4 candles set on the floor. You walk up to them and see that they are connected by lines of silver dust, forming a square within which runic symbols have been chalked. If you want to take the candles and or the silver dust, you can do so. Why not? I will just add them to my inventory since I have 2 spots.
Cool.
So 4 candles, and then silver dust.
You did keep the healing salve, right, Adam?
I did keep the healing salve. Yes.
Cool.
Okay. Then, if you are in a multiplayer party, turn to 556. 566. 566. The area of floor that is covered with runes looks dangerous. You decide to edge past it. With a sigh of relief, you reach the open door ahead of you, only to stop dead as a figure out of your worst nightmare steps out from it. You see a grinning, rotted corpse dressed in an executioner's apparel, his face wriggling with worms that grow up to the floor from his putrefying eye sockets. The scythe it holds in its dead ends is even now swinging viciously towards the first person in the battle order. There is nothing that he or she can do to prevent the blow from striking home, As it does, the player concerned dissolves into a thin mist. Turn to 390. So, Trickster, you are dissolved into a thin mist. How do you feel about that?
The poor scabbard of bloods.
It was nice meeting you.
By the way,
You will be always remember.
that was the trick question. You don't feel anything, you're dead. The executioner holds his scythe aloft in triumph.
Question, Adam.
Sorry?
Question.
Yeah?
Since he's now a mist, does he lose the blood scabbard and will die?
No, at this point, since we will get him back, I don't consider that. And even if we did, we would have swapped equipment, and that's not a bad thing.
Alright.
The executioner holds his scythe aloft in triumph. Amid peals of hideous laughter that bubble up out of his decayed throat, he vanishes into the same mist that is all that remains of your comrade. The player who vanished must play the monsters now. However, you should retain his or her character sheet for the moment. You look at the fading strands of mist, then shrug off your sad thoughts and march onwards. You enter a long silent gallery. Looking to your right, you see a line of huge mirrors along the wall. In them, you see yourself reflected, and also reflections of bizarre portraits that seem to hang on the left-hand wall. However, when you turn to look at the left wall, you see mirrors hanging there, apparently reflecting a row of portraits along the right wall. You find the effect very disorientating, and it serves only to disturb your uneasy thoughts all the more. After a long time, you reach the end of the gallery. Here it intersects with a cavernous passageway, perhaps actually a wide, high-walled avenue, as you think you can glimpse stars far above. The gallery is on a higher level than the passageway, which you can reach by descending a wide flight of stairs. Below, near the foot of the stairs, you see an eerie procession. Cowled figures with the large blue candles, carrying a shrouded body on a bier. They pass along the avenue with slow, silent tread. So, do we sneak down the stairs for a closer look, or do we wait in the shadows until they go past? You do remember what it is, Sage, didn't you?
Yeah, we must have a closer look, of course.
Alright.
Or else it's gonna be bye-bye, Mr. Trickster.
Yeah, and bye-bye...
Let's pay homage.
Sorry?
Let's pay homage to the trickster by sneaking on the enemy.
Absolutely. Let's follow the spirit of the trickster. Screwing up your courage, you make your way down the stairs and hide in the shadows of the balustrade at the bottom. As the eerie procession passes, you see by the light of the blue torches that the figure on the bier is none other than the friend you lost when the executioner attacked. He or she appears to be dead, however, with a face as white as the winding sheet wrapped around the body. 4 unlit lanterns stand at the corners of the bier. The pallbearers ignore you as they march past. We can either attack them, follow them, go on the opposite direction, or use an item.
Use an item.
So you want to use it right now?
Yep.
Okay. I will just give that choice to the remaining of the group, because I've played that scene very often. Because I died a lot in that book. If we follow them and then use an item, we will face a great challenge ahead. But this great challenge will permit us to have an easier time at the boss battle.
Okay,
If
but
we use the item right now, we will not have that challenge, which will make the boss fight more difficult.
well, let's go with the challenge then. I love myself a good challenge.
How about you, Warrior?
The challenge is accepted.
All right. What about you, Trickster? I know you're dead, but we still hold your spirit in memory.
Is disembodied, the spirit appears before us and says,
I'm just dead. I don't have an opinion.
I know, but what did the Trickster say?
I still hear voices now. It goes to me.
Alright, so you're both for the challenge? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see by following them. 45. You follow your comrade's bier at a short distance. Soon the procession comes to a huge cathedral-like structure, its steeple soaring into the night air. With a gasp, you realize that it is made entirely of bone. The steeples are cones of human skulls, the buttresses human thigh bones, and the walls are pulverized fragments of rib cages and arms. As you enter the darkness, you smell a pungent incense mingling with the powerful scent of decay. In front of you, the pallbearers' trailing robe disturb layers of dust as they advance towards the altar at the end of the nave and set down the bier. Apart from the sickly starlight that filters through the high windows above the nave, the only other source of illumination is the blue light of the processional candles and the dull glow from up in the rafters of human bones. Peering up, you see a glimmering fountain attached to a cross of bone hanging upside down inside the narrow cage. When your eyes return to the altar, you see one of the pallbearers fetch a tarnished silver falchion from a recess by the altar and place it across the breast of your motionless comrade. So, do we attack the pallbearers? Do we leave and return the way we have come? Do we use an item? Or do we wait and see what happens? Don't wait and see what happens.
Use an item. I will not wait and see what happens. I know what comes
Is
next.
this the challenge you were speaking about, or
No, the
not?
challenge comes after.
Oh,
Use the item.
Okay. Yeah, the challenge will have to be done as a group. So we need a group for that. It occurs to you with sudden conviction that you must light the lantern on your comrade's bier in order to save him. There are 2 items whose flame might accomplish this: an orb of fire or an ember tinderbox. So,
Ember
Yep.
Tinderbox.
there we go. 453. You strike the tinderbox, and immediately sparks fly like well-directed missiles from it toward the bier. The lanterns blossom with light, and the cowled figures seem blinded by the sudden illumination. They flee in terror. Turn to 197. 197.
that is.
Suddenly, you see your fallen comrade stir, then rise to their feet, casting off their winding sheet. You rush to them and find that although they have no memory of anything after the scythe cut them down, they are unharmed. As this character has triumphed over death, they now have no concept of fear, and their fighting prowess is increased by 1. So Trickster, +1 fighting prowess. Permanent. Sounds good, eh?
Sounds good. It's added.
They are still holding the tarnished silver falchion that was placed over their chest. Engravings on this blade identify it as Shadow Cleaver. The pallbearers also dropped a skull amulet by the altar. Take it if you wish. So by the way, the silver falchion, shown as Shadow Cleaver, is not a magical weapon. It's just a weapon with a name. It's kind of cool. It's a silver falchion, but it's basically
It
just...
does still 2 dice 6.
What?
It's still 1 dice 6, right? It's
Yeah,
the same.
it's still the same damage as your normal weapons.
Well, then I will change that to a silver falchion to be cool.
Are you sure? Because your quarterstaff techniques don't work with a falchion. They work with
Oh.
a quarterstaff.
Oh, okay.
Steve, do you want
I'll
to have
keep my quarter.
the silver falchion Shadow Cleaver instead of your standard sword?
I'll keep my stuff.
Would I still get my +1 to damage if I take it?
What +1 to damage?
Because I leveled up, I do 1d6
Oh no,
plus
it's your
1,
level
don't
that allows you to have 1d6 +1. It has nothing to do with your weapon. Well, it has to do with your weapon. Then if you don't have any weapon, you get -2 at damage. But that's basically it. You will still have 1d6 +1 damage, even if you take the Shadow Cleaver.
Well, then I will take the Shadow Cleaver.
It sounds more dark. It suits your brooded nature.
Alright. As for myself, I will drop my rations, because I don't think we will need them, in order to take the skull amulet.
Who needs to eat when you have a skull amulet?
That's right.
Fashion or survival? Eh?
Food is for the weak.
Alright, let's turn to 174 for the next paragraph. Welcome back, Trickster. You're now a better fighter because you're apparently not afraid of death. And considering how often you encountered it, I'd say it's fitting.
Seems fitting.
Yes,
Alright,
it does.
so you are about to leave this horrible cathedral of bones when you notice an archway leading off the side of the nave when one would normally accept the transept to lie in a godly place of worship. Do we investigate or do we leave the cathedral?
Investigate.
That is the challenge I was referring to, by the way.
Still investigate.
Okay, is that everyone's decision?
Here. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, let's go for 11. By the way, I suggest, again, that we now change the checkpoint to the 174 with the trickster coming back and everything fine. Because those challenges will make us curse. They made me curse when I started them.
Alright, 174 is saved.
Okay. Now we investigate. We step forward the archway. Just then a feeble, high-pitched voice calls out, disturbing the utter silence of the Cathedral of Death. You look up at the stricken Fulton hanging in its cage from a rafter. "Wait!" it cries weakly. "Free me, and I may be able to assist you." Do we help the Fulton, or do we ignore it and go through the archway?
What kind of creature is that?
It is a Fulton. It's a small fairy-like creature, like one I can summon to help me sometimes.
Yeah, let's help him. He seems like very cute, and the wizard have one, so yeah, why not?
So
Enchanter have one,
it is
sorry.
the sage's option. What about you, warrior?
I don't know if I should trust a fairy.
Still,
Come on.
you need to make a decision.
It's a fairy.
Do you just ignore
I
it?
will. I mean, I'll trust the sage's opinion on this one.
Okay.
Okay, let's help him.
Okay. Alright, so let's see. 314. It is dangling in its cage some meters above you. Which character class will try to get it down first? The sage, the trickster, or an enchanter?
Hmm.
I'm just going to sit in the corner.
So who takes action here? Any
Well,
votes?
it's a dangling
I mean, it was
cage
your
idea.
option to want to save him, or save it. I think it's your chance to try to knock it down.
Yeah, that's
Why
the thing.
not?
It's the cage is up in the air, and you could probably levitate to get there.
I'm fine with levitation.
Okay, let's see. Is it the right choice? 351. Levitation is obviously the power you have to use in this case. Focus your thoughts, then see if you succeed in your attempt by turning either to 325 or 230. Which one do you choose? Either 325 or 30.
30.
Alright, let's see if that was the wise choice. It's no good. You cannot get in the right frame of mind to levitate. Your ability to concentrate seems to have gone for the moment, so you cannot try again. Turn to 314 if someone else wants to try to rescue the Fulton, which we will do. Now it is the choice of either the enchanter or trickster to try and put it down.
Go on, trickster. You know how to do it. You know how to unlock cages, right?
I guess I'll try next.
It is technically a rib cage, but yeah. Alright, let's see. 51. You quickly scale the wall of the cathedral, there being plenty of foot and handholds in the protruding bones. When you are level with the Fulton's cage, you brace your leg and leap out. Roll awareness on less on 2 dice. If you make the roll, you've succeeded in grabbing the cage. Eventually, you manage to disengage the Fulton from the pins that holds to its crucifix. Once you have done so, it lowers to the ground and will turn to 568. If you miss your roll, you fall and take 1d6 damage from which armor does not protect you. You will feel disinclined to try again, so return to 314 if we try to again. So you basically succeed or not.
I succeeded.
That's great.
Yeah.
You managed to bolt him down and, well, not bolt him down, unbolt it free, and we'll go to 568. 568. 568. You've helped me, says the Falcon, so I will help you. It gestures over the archway that leads to the transept. The transept holds a series of ordeals culled from the dream of myth. Strong sorcery, such as that contained in ancient items, may be needed. Certainly you should avail yourself of a skull amulet. A handful of silver dust is also advisable. First, however, I would recommend that you tear strips from the winding sheet by the beer over there and soak them in water from the front, then wind them across your lips. So saying, the fountain vanishes. You can do as suggested. The shroud still lies by the beer and the font is full of water. Each player must decide whether the fountain gave good advice here and act accordingly. If you didn't take the skull item before, go back where you saw it and pick it up.
I'll go with my guts. I'll trust it.
I will also trust this word, apparently.
I mean, I guess trusting its word is the best way to go.
So you will put a wet cloth over your lips?
Yep.
Okay. What about you, warrior?
I'm sitting in the corner.
So you will not put. So you will not put the wet cloth over.
Yes, I will put the wet cloth on my face.
Okay. Let's see how it helps us. Now we go to 40 to go through the transepts. Okay. You enter the transept. The walls here are fashioned from skeletal hands that reach out into the room as though in fervent gesture of supplication. A sense of foreboding almost overwhelms you. If an enchanter casts prediction before the party proceeds, turn to 305. Well, actually, I will. Let's see what it gives us. 305. The curtain of time, opaque to mortal eyes, flutters aside and allows you a glimpse into possible futures. You see a series of ordeals. First, you will be subjected to ordeal by disease, then by terror, then by destruction, and then forgetfulness. Lastly, you go to confront the greatest challenge of all, a challenge which seems to hold the promise of a great prize. You strain to see more, but no division clouds. You step back, beads of sweat soaking your face, too shaken to cast the spell again for the moment. And now we need to decide if we still go on, or do we leave the cathedral?
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, first, the ordeal by disease. Let's see. 160. 160. Okay, darkness settles all around. You seem to hear a morbid chattering from the walls, and then a wheezing chuckle. But when you thrust your torch forwards, you see no sign of motion. A howling wind whistled past, bringing it on 100 plagues and ailments. It is the wind of decay, and you must weather it or suffer the consequences. Roll 1d6 for each in turn of the 5 ailments listed below. Each player must do this. The player contracts the ailment on a score of 1 or 2. Add 1 to the die roll if you previously wound a wet strip of shroud over your face. Basically, there are 5 ailments that will each affect us. We will roll a die for each of them, and if we get any 1 on the dice, we contract the disease. They also say that there is no need to roll if we are holding the Orb of Plague, which sucks the disease spirits into itself. Which is the main advantage of the Orb of Plagues. So, we'll start with a warrior. Please roll for malaria. It's 1d6.
Holy sh...
You do not get malaria. Now, roll for typhoid. Typhoid? No. You do not get typhoid. Roll for soul bite. You do not get soul bite. Roll for hemophilia. You do not get hemophilia. And now roll for wasting rot. You get wasting rot. You can now carry a maximum of only 8 items, owing to weakness. The effect lasts for the rest of the adventure.
8?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
For the rest of this book or
For
the rest of
the book? The book.
Phew. So I drop the iron ration, and I will drop something else, like a...
The bedroll?
Yeah, the bedroll. I don't need to sleep. Sleep is for the weak.
Okay. Alright, while we do that, Trickster, you're next. So roll for malaria. You do not get malaria. Roll for typhoid. You do get typhoid, and you get -1 for fighting prowess until the end of the adventure.
Yay!
Roll for
It
soul bite.
balances at least.
Roll for soul bite now.
1 sec.
Well, at least its bonus kind of balances, but do remember that on the next book, if you survive, you'll still have it. So
Yeah, I know.
important.
You do not get soul bite. Roll for hemophilia. You do not get it. Wasting rot. You do not get it. Now it's the sage.
Oh, sweet.
Roll for malaria. Roll for typhoid. Roll for soul bite. Roll for hemophilia. And roll for wasting rot. You get no disease.
Yes.
My turn. Now,
One.
Watch.
malaria,
Hey.
I don't get it. Typhoid,
Good.
I get it and get -1 for fighting prowess. Big whoop.
Ooh.
I know you'll cry over this.
Ooh.
So I'll put that under.
The mage is such a fighter. The enchanter is such a fighter anyway.
The one I don't want to get is soul bite,
Yes.
which is the next. And I get soul bite. Frick.
You should have shut up.
-1 to psychic ability.
Oh,
Oh. So your nose, you use
for the
it.
adventure only. All right.
Yes, for the adventure. Alright, now I'll roll for the other diseases. Hemophilia. Nope. And wasting rot. Nope. Okay. Okay. Now, do we proceed?
So
or do
it will
we...
be a bit more difficult for you to cast spell. That sucks.
It is. It does. It does suck. I'll just change my little stats for the moment. Alright. By the
I
way,
was the only
I
one
will prepare
unscathed.
I will prepare a spell for next. I will prepare the Nemesis Ball just for later.
Really? With such low psychic ability?
Yeah, that means in the first try I will never even be able to cast it.
That sucks. Right.
Well, actually, let leave myself some chance. I will instead just prepare the spell of Sword Thrust, the one that does 3d6 plus 3 damage. It's a level 2 spell, which means I
It's still decent. It's still decent damage, to be honest.
It is. It's not 7d6 plus 7 though. Alright. With that done, now we need to decide whether or not we proceed further or do we go back.
Keep proceeding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright. Just making sure I get the right paragraph. Nope, not that. Oh, come on. Please don't make me. Just a moment. Alright, so we can proceed 557. There we go. 557. In this part of the transept, the walls are formed of damp clay. Cavernous mouths gape at you from the shadows, making a macabre sound, the groan of doom. If you have an iron bell, it rings loudly now of its own accord and drowns out the terrible groaning. We did take the iron bell, did we?
Yes, I have.
So if you do not have the bell, you are demoralized by the noise, and each player must have his or her fighting prowess for the rest of the adventure. So,
How many?
we have it rounding up, meaning people that have 7 of them would have 4.
Wow. So after fighting prowess, if we wouldn't have it.
Yeah. So we.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like an obvious item to keep. It was given to us by a seer.
Yeah.
Alright, do we proceed further?
Yeah.
Alright, 188.
Always.
188. We already passed 2 of the challenges.
Sweet.
You step into a zone of utter blackness. Lights appear and slowly weave towards you, the glowing, enticing eyes of the maidens of oblivion. You can see them now in the soft glow, dimly, their thin lips ready to administer the kiss of death. If you have any silver dust, you can fling it now onto their hypnotic eyes, causing them to flee. Remember to cross the dust off the character sheet. I have silver dust, and I will use it, because frick that.
Or else we would be dead. Yeah, no.
Do I need to get rid of the iron bell or not?
No. Keep the iron bell
Okay.
around.
We shall get it. Okay.
Keep it around. It's really important.
Same goes for the tinderbox. Oh, I still have it.
Yeah, it might be useful later. This one, I'm actually not sure.
I'll keep it.
Alright, and well, if you do not have the dust, they reach out to embrace you. Each player must roll a psychic ability or less on 2 dice, or else vanish from this world forever.
Wow.
If a player vanishes, so does any equipment he or she is carrying except for the blood sword scabbard. So, do we go deeper into the transept?
Yeah.
Yes.
So far, we've been doing good. 367. Alright, there you go. You're walking on flagstones, carpeted with dead leaves. A faint, dry breeze rustled them eerily. Slowly, to your aura, they rise up and clump together to form a vaguely recognizable shape, something like a tall, hunched man in a long cloak. This ordeal is the leaves of remembrance which snatch away the mind's memories. If you have an ember tinderbox or the other fire, well, it was useful. You can quickly
I'll use
produce
the
a magical
tinderbox,
flame.
yeah.
The dry leaves catch a light in seconds, emitting a thin wail as they burn, and you can pass by in safety. If you use the tinderbox, then you retain it. But if you use the orb, then you must cross it off your character sheet, as it is too hot now to pick up. Without either the tinderbox nor the orb, you cannot stop the leaves rolling over you. Each player loses all recollection of his or her past lives and skills, becoming a second-rank character in all respects. Gosh.
No,
Those
it's
malices. Do we still go deeper for the final
Hey, we've come that far. I'm not backing up.
final ordeal? There we go. At least we had all the items necessary to beat it. Alright, 527. By the way, if we tried to save the Falcon using me, I would have had to summon my Falcon to save their Falcon, and I would have had to give up one of these items in order to do so. So I'm very glad that one of you did save the other Falcon.
Sweet.
You are at the end of the transept. An archway lies ahead, but the way is blocked by a giant warrior. Strange armor of violet jewels and ebony plaques hangs about his huge frame. From the depths of his necroid helm, you glimpse a bony smile. He stands with his hands enclosed in gauntlets of black metal, resting on the hilt of his jagged-edged sword. The blade's point rests on the cracked flagstone by his feet, where you see a gathering of dust accumulated through the centuries he has stood guard here before the arch. I am Thanatos, he declares in rumbling tones suggesting the approach of thunder. I am ready to meet in battle any who would pass beyond this point, in single combat or massed attack from those too craven to duel equally. If you retreat through the Leaves of Remembrance, turn to 367. If one player steps forward to fight Thanatos, turn to 477. If two or more players attack at once, turn to 71.
Oh.
So
Is that the big challenge?
That's a big challenge. I have the picture of Thanatos right here in front of me, and it's kind of a spiky armored kind of guy.
So, does the warrior feel courageous enough to try to beat them alone?
I will not comment on this. I will follow the party, whether they want one of us to fight or all of us to fight.
He does seem like an impressive dude.
And the guy said it did not matter whether we attacked him all at once or with one.
I'll go with the trickster philosophy. If he told us that we could just be all together, well, if he finds that unfair, it's on him, because he did say it was a possibility.
So, Trickster, what do you think?
In this situation, it seems like the more that of us there are, it could be harder. But at the same time, fighting alone is a bad idea.
I once follow it.
So, do we want to send more than 2 people in, or do we want to do it all together as a party?
So
Well, we did most of our fight
together.
together, so I'd say we all face him together.
All right, let's attack him at once. Is anyone? All right.
Let's see if it was a good idea or not.
You utter a battle cry and charge forwards together, intent of the destruction of your giant foe. Thanatos hefts his mighty weapon and displays the jagged teeth that run along his cutting edge. Whether I stand against one or many, the outcome is sure, he bellows. Thanatos the giant has the following stats. Fighting prowess of 8. He inflicts 4 dice 6 of damage per blow. He has a psychic ability of 8. Awareness of 7, 2 of armor rating, and 45 endurance points.
Yeah.
Trickster, do
3
you want to
dice.
use the Orb of Carnage? I feel like it's a good spot.
I mean, I could save it. It could be useful later.
It could. Although I really feel that this fight is something we should not lose. While you decide, I will set up the battle map.
Use the orb. Use the orb.
Well, you already have the warrior's opinion.
So wait, am I in slot 1 or slot 2?
Well, you were the first person in the battle order the last time we checked, so it would be
But
like
I
that
died.
if you kept that. But you did die. So maybe we reset to your original position. Just to let you know, Thanatos will be sitting in that square. So you can decide.
I think I'd rather be in position 2.
Okay. Alright. I will set up his attributes, so...
And while you're setting that up, I'm going to run to the washroom, then we will use the Orb of Carnage.
Okay. Good thing. Psychic ability of 8. Awareness of 7, meaning he plays before everyone except the Trickster. 45 endurance point, which is a bother. And 2 armor points. There we go. Yeah, I should probably change his picture as well. Oh, Thanatos. There we go. Oh yeah, right, I should probably change that as well. So, yep. Oh, Thanatos. And here, his stats will be as follows. Make them that showed to everyone. Alright, that is done. Thanatos will be added to the initiative tracker.
He's called Thanatos, but he doesn't really represent the god of Greek.
Well, Thanatos wasn't
Which
that
was
the embodiment of death
the
in
god-
Greek mythology?
Yeah, but the god of non-violent death. His touch was gentle, likened to that of his twin brother Hypnos. I mean. Violent death was the domain of Thanatos' blood-craving sisters, the Keres. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Spirit of slaughter and disease. Oh yeah, he's not a bad god.
No, the only time I've seen him in Greek literature was in the story of Sisyphus, the king Sisyphus. By the way, this is the flee zone.
We can flee?
Yeah, we can flee this fight. But
Never
if we
flee,
flee,
always
we
fight.
flee back to the Leaves of Remembrance, which we might or might not have burned or might not reappear. And then there's the Kiss of Oblivion, and then there's the there's the howling of the
We don't
things.
want that.
The Kiss of Oblivion.
Alright, so you wanted to roll your both of your dice sixes. We'll need to multiply the results.
It's 2 die 6, right?
So 2 times 2 makes 4 damage on Thanatos minus armor. So he takes 2 damage at the beginning of the fight. Not much, but still something. Do I have
Damn.
do we have any items that we can use? No, I don't no longer have the scroll because we did not take the path of the Mage's Tower.
No.
Yep.
I do not longer see me in the...
What?
Where's my character?
He's in the middle.
I can see him.
Thanatos is at the left. The Enchanter is at the right. The Trickster is in the... Yeah, you got it. He's here.
Weird. Really weird.
Alright, so we will start this fight. I've prepared a spell for damage. After that, I'm... Actually, do you allow me one little moment? I might just buff you at this point.
Might be a good idea if you feel you're comfortable with buffing.
I will be close to useless in spell casting because of the soul burst, soul rot anyway. Anyway, so the disease. So I prefer to be more of a...
But don't worry, you're really cool when you cast. You do all those hand moves and you look badass even when you fail.
Alright, so Trickster, it is your turn.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go play risky and I'm gonna move beside Thanatos.
Alright, so Thanatos will act then. Thanatos' action will target the Trickster. Of course it does. And he misses because of the Trickster's nimbleness. Even though
Good.
he's fighting prowess of 8. Great, so you did well, Trickster. Congratulations. Alright, as it is our turn, I will attempt to cast the spell now that I have a very shitty psychic ability. I will need 4 or less on 2 dice. That is not 4 or less. Alright. Warrior and then Sage.
I'll do try to throw an arrow, of course.
The warrior succeeds in his... So how many damage, warrior?
Just give me a sec.
8, meaning 6 damage remains on Thanatos, which is great, by the way. Alright.
I miss.
Oh, you totally miss. Remove an arrow from your thing. Trickster, it will be to your turn. It will be your turn.
Let's attack!
Yay! Oh, you hit. You clearly hit. That is... Yay. Good amount of damage. -4.
Imagine that warrior facing him alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And he has the same stats, by the way. It does not get easier if we are alone.
Oh.
By the way, it's Thanatos' turn. Yeah, I attempted it once. Thanatos will target the warrior, and he will miss. That is great. Thanatos keeps missing. Alright, as for us, I will attempt to buff us. Let's see, 5 or less. That is a 4, and I managed to cast my spell. So you all now are affected by the buff on your fighting prowess and damage.
Plus 1 prowess, plus 1 damage.
So that will be for 5 rounds, by the way.
Die!
That
Die, heretics!
That is a total of 8 damage when counting armor to Thanatos. Which is awesome. Continue like that, warrior. You're hitting like a truck since the beginning of this seance.
Yes.
This session. Alright, so, what about you, Sage?
I'll try to fire an arrow.
That's a hit. For a total of 2 damage. Unfortunately, that is not enough to bypass Thanatos' armor.
At least it did hit, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
A slight distraction.
So, Trickster, it is your turn.
It tickles.
You hit as well. That is a great amount of damage. Continue like that, folks. He is less than half his health. That is awesome.
Yep.
I'm just fearing the day when Thanatos will strike. Okay, so he does target the
Your
warrior. He hits the warrior.
your
and he
fear will
inflicts
come.
7 damage. That is a very small amount of damage for 4 dice 6. We should be thankful for that.
Yes.
Yes, it does. Considering he could do worse than that.
Yeah, you could do up to 24 damages. We are very lucky so far. Alright, so it is our turn. On my end, I will simply call another spell to mind. This time it will be a sword thrust. Just to assist.
We attempt to hit him like a truck and fail.
You failed?
But,
Oh, that's sad.
well,
Well, he did hit, so it's 3 damage on 1.
yeah.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I just get... So that's a 2 on the dice, meaning you get 5... No, 6 because of the bonus. So that makes 4. 4 damage, still. Alright, that is great. What about you, Sage?
Of course, I will
You're doing
throw
great so
another
far, by the
arrow
way,
because I'm not getting close to that thing.
Why not? So you...
Do I hit?
Yeah, no, you miss. Unfortunately.
Miss.
Even with your +1 to fight.
Sorry, guys.
So minus less 1 arrow. So it is
Trying
the
my
trickster's
best.
turn. No, that's
I missed.
That's clearly a miss. Let's just hope it's not the point where our luck turns. He will target the warrior, and you will hit for 9 damage. Still fairly reasonable.
Does he survive?
Oh, 9 damage minus armor, so 6. Yes, the warrior survives.
Good.
Yes, if people want to use the healing sail.
The healing salve cannot
Yeah,
be used in
in combat.
combat.
Oh, damn.
I'll
would
do
have
my best.
if I could. At this point, it would be my most useful thing, but unfortunately, it is not us.
I'll do my best to land the last arrow on his face.
So for a sword thrust to be successful, I need to have 4 or less on a die. 2 dice. That is not the case.
Almost. Well,
That's a hit. Clearly a hit.
Yeah.
And that makes
Die.
7 minus 2, 5 damage, which is great. The sage only has 1
Last
arrow left.
arrow.
That's a
It's
hit. And that's
Oh.
6 damage minus 2, 4. The
Wasn't a
trickster
bad
could
shot,
kill
at
it
least.
in the next strike. That's a strike. And that's not maximum damage.
Not
because-
enough.
I
damn,
was beginning
almost.
hopeful while saying the 6 at the bottom, but no, you already included the bonus. So Thanatos will have probably the last strike of his life. He will target the warrior once again, will hit once again, and this time manage to score
die
a
early.
deadly strike.
Oh well.
guys.
No.
Let's add a little X for good measure.
Sorry about that, warrior. We did all try our best.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'll try to avenge our fallen comrade by casting a spell. I need 5 or less. That's not a 5 or less. What about you, Sage?
I feel very scared getting beside him, but screw it. I'm avenging my fallen comrade.
Trickster, do you want to deal the
I
finishing
will
blow?
deal the final blow.
You will deal the final blow. You should have
And then
done...
I roll the maximum.
And
Oh, I'm
Thanatos
so
is
sorry,
now-
warrior.
Oh, it's fine.
By the way, Trickster, I should recommend you to take the axe, the warrior's axe, because even though it's not as powerful on you, it's still a magical weapon.
I have stolen.
It's not like it's the first time you've stolen something, right?
Unfortunately, right now, the weapon is not as efficient on non-warriors, meaning that for you, Trickster, It only gives you +1 to fighting prowess, but none of the other benefits. No additional damage, and not the ability to throw it.
That's fine. +1 to fighting prowess is good.
At this point, what else did the warrior have that we could use? Trickster, why don't you take the chainmail of the warrior as well?
That's a great idea. I think I will.
On my end, I shall take with one of my spots the ivory drinking horn. And what else does the warrior have? The iron bell. Clearly, I want to keep that. I will replace the brazier, well, the gloves I have for an iron bell.
Good. I'm okay with not taking anything. Nothing seems useful for me.
I will take the silver crucifix over my bedroll in memory of the warrior.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
crucifix of Saint Ashenax. It's actually very... It would have been very useful if we were ever lost.
Still, it's a memento.
Yes, that is correct.
Should we still get... So, if we ever wish to come back with the warrior, we'll have to go through all the challenges, just so you all know.
Yeah, we'll have to go through the checkpoint. Well, let's see if we survive this adventure, because if we do survive
Still-
this adventure, the warrior
You-
will be able to come back in book 3 as a standard run-of-the-mill warrior, but we can't give him back the Axe of Heracloss and getting him
But
his
you won't-
advantages back.
You won't be able to throw it then, right?
Yes, he will, because he will be a warrior with the Axe of Heracloss.
Ah.
So,
Yeah.
technically,
I
the
think-
warrior's
I still
death
think-
is sad. I'm sad
If
for
I
you,
may, I still think...
Francis. But here's the thing.
Yeah,
It might be a blessing in disguise. Because if you still are dead by the end of this adventure and we're not, that means our trickster will now have a chainmail. And you will still have your magical axe. And we will get some bonus XP if we manage to survive with 3 people.
Plus
remaining.
a new chainmail for you.
Yeah, that is correct. So let's see.
So-
Well, in the meantime, Francis, you will have control over the monsters once we are back. So
Do your worst.
Mm-hmm.
I will just...
Kill the
So-
sage first. Let the trickster live.
No, I do not agree with...
It's the trickster's fault. I died. He didn't do enough damage. so
by the way,
it-
Trickster, do you give some of your arrows to the sage for him to be able to...
Please,
Well, the sage is going to be in slot 2, right? So
Yep.
sage will be actually able to start smacking some things.
Mm-hmm.
I still
But
love
you
some
still split
arrows
your
to be sure I can nail
just in
you up.
case.
I
If
will
I-
give you 2 of my arrows.
Appreciate it.
All right.
You know, just if I die, I can't heal, so that's why mostly I throw arrows.
All right. Let's make it
'Cause you-
official. Unfortunately,
I think you do. I think you do need the healing, mind you. So
all right. Okay.
I mean, I might want to run away and use some arrows too at some point, just
By
to
the way,
survive.
the warrior actually went with a bang. He managed to withstand 3 hits from Thanatos. I'm just saying
That's
it's
still
kind of good.
I
what-
mean, to be fair, I hit most of my hits against Thanatos.
Thanos and warriors, so did it. So did the warrior, and he managed to do like maximum damage almost all times.
I did contribute with 1 arrow at least.
The one
mean-
that did not do any damage.
That did 4.
Okay, at least that. All right, so let's continue the adventure. This time it will be a little more difficult because we are no longer 4. Stepping over Thanatos' body, you take a look at the chamber he was guarding. It is just a bare circular room, not very large, illuminated by a lamp that hangs from the vaulted roof. A single item stands in the center of the floor, but when you step forward to investigate, you see that it is an extraordinary item indeed. The proud battle standard of the First Legion of Imperial Silentium. It must be almost 1,000 years old and an object of veneration throughout the civilized world. Dazed, you reach out and take it. You can almost imagine the ghosts of the previous wielders of this battle standard speaking to you, imparting the dauntless wisdom of bygone age. The battle standard gives you the spirit to face the horrors of the transept again, but when you retrace your step, you find they have all vanished. Returning to the echoing nave, you stride to the doors of the Cathedral of Death and leave. Who shall take the battle standard of the Silentium Empire?
Does it give any bonuses?
Not yet, it doesn't. But we basically went through all the ordeals for that.
Everybody has full equip, right?
Yes,
I'll,
everybody.
I'll drop my bedroll and I'll take it.
You can sleep on the battle standard.
Can I?
No, you cannot. Well, technically you could in a real role-playing game, but now it's a play-your-own adventure book, so it won't give you the option.
So, what's the name of the stuff?
So I will write it down on the. I will write it down on the chat because it's kind of long.
I'll have discarded beside my bedroll just in case that we need to go back to the checkpoint. So I will not forget what I discarded. Sounds good with you?
Sounds good with me.
Sounds
So
good.
what's the item?
So the battle standard of the First Legion of the Silentium Empire. It is written in the chat, by the way.
I'll do copy, and I'll after the slash it's beside. So the first one is discarded, and if we die, I'll just go back to the bedroll to avoid losing us some time.
It's okay. All right, now we can leave and go to 547. By the way, is any one of us injured? No, all the hits went on the warrior. Okay.
But we still try to bring the trickster out this alive, because one fighting prowess permanently is a good thing.
It's a very good thing. You pass between two soaring columns of grey-white marble into a series of labyrinthine chambers. The ceiling is shrouded in gloom 100 meters above you. Bizarre gargoyles and bas-reliefs stare from the walls. Everything is overlain with centuries of dust that swirls in thick ripples, a dry pool through which you must wade. After some searching, you find a way to an upper courtyard of the palace. Cracked flagstones tilt as you step on them, sending the grubs and insects that shelter there scurrying to a more secure hideaway. You go up a flight of worn and moss-carpeted steps. The pitted stone has the look of leprous skin, and once ornate balustrade is wrapped in dead ivy. Moths sit with spread wings on the leaves, but when you brush against them, they too crumble to dust. Turn to 353. 353. There is a bronze door at the top of the stairs. You push and it swings back, revealing a wide, low-ceilinged room. The walls and floors are constructed on a dull grey marble, but the ceiling glows like a bed of coals. There's an intermittent black patches shot through here and there by a deep red glow. Occasionally, lumps of black ash fall onto the floor. They immediately transform into large black millipedes that wriggle off into the darkness. You advance cautiously, approaching a large dais of black marble set into the center of the room. A flame burns brightly on it. As you watch, tendrils protrude up of the marble to twist and weave around the flame, casting capering shadows across the walls. A high-pitched whistling is just audible now. If there's a sage in the party, turn to 105. Well, we still have a living sage on it, so let's go. 105.
Yep.
In the flickering movement of the tendrils, you recognize the arcane ritual used to summon Umborus the Dark, a shadow demon of incalculable power. The shadows that are not fitting about the room will soon coalesce and form his mortal body. You must somehow disrupt the ritual before he appears, but how? Do we have either an orb of fire or a flask of milk?
I think we don't have any milk.
I think the milk was given to us by villagers, you know, when we healed their baby. I'm not exactly sure if anyone took it, though.
Did we still... I think we didn't heal the baby because we switched bat items.
No, we had no choice but to heal the baby because I used a healing salve charge for it.
Well, then I probably would have taken it.
Well,
I would.
I don't remember a flask of milk at any time during the story.
I remember healing a baby. I do.
Just a moment, I will try to retrace a step. I will stop the recording for the moment because people searching is not really engaging, and I will come back as soon as possible. Alright, and we're back. After some searching, I figured out that we did not take the milk because there's only one way to take the jug of milk, and it is to let the sage heal the baby instead of using a healing salve. Then the lady would be so thankful that she would give the sage a jug of milk as well as a woolen cloak.
Oh well. So we fight a demon.
Pretty much, because we
Good
did
luck.
not freaking heal a baby with the sage.
Well, good luck then, guys. Are you sure, Fixer? You don't want to give me more arrows?
You can use your staff.
Alright, let's go to 3.
Okay.
Anyway, if we manage to die, we will get back to the ordeals and everything with it.
So our challenge for today will be to injure the trials and kill demon. Good noted.
Absolutely. Let's see, 3. The whistling grows louder and louder until it is almost unbearable. It becomes a screech that sets your teeth on edge. You cover your ears, but it seems to drive like a needle right into your brain. Suddenly, the noise changes from a whistling to a hollow moan. As you listen, you realize it is like the sound of something breathing. A movement across the wall alerts you that you are no longer alone. The hard shadows have taken on substance, and now descend towards you like a giant bat. A thin voice cackles through the chamber. So far have you come, so far. But now you must look into the face of the dark, that shadow feared by all. Umborus, come forth to slay for your master. A tall, shapeless block of shadow looms before you. It has eye that crackles like distant lightning hidden between somber storm clouds. Implacable claws, tattered knives of black reach out for you. If anyone wields Shadow Cleaver, turn to 34. Did anybody
34!
Okay, 34, let's see.
Seems bad.
You did not trade your Shadow Cleaver for the Axe of Heraclos?
No, I kept the axe and the shadow cleaver.
Okay, player with Shadow Cleaver. You feel the silver falchion sing along the length of the blade. The tarnish that discolored it before now fades, causing it to shine brilliantly. The furthest corners of the room are suddenly bathed in relentless light like the desert sun. The demon Umborus begins to keen in pain, a sound like the scream of a burning man. Even if you could feel pity for such a monster, your magical blade has none. It pulls your arm up, plunging the hilt in the demon's shadowy breasts. Silence descends. Looking up, you find no sign of the demon. Shadow Cleaver lies at your feet. Now white hot, its glow illuminates the chamber. You cannot retrieve it, so delete it from your character sheet. Beside it lies an ugly black lump like a huge blob of soft tar. It is the heart of the dark. All that remains of the foul shadow demon. Take it if you wish, then turn to 145. Do you take the heart of the dark since you cannot get back your fiery, glowing
Yes,
Shadow
I will
Cleaver?
take it back.
Oh wow. So the blade saved us.
Yeah, basically, the falchion saved us.
I'm pretty sure the demon would have been something pretty impressive in terms of stats.
Maybe.
Sorry, what was the heart? Heart of the...
Yeah, you harvest the heart of the dark.
Do we wish to do? I'm curious. Do you all wish to know the stats of that thing?
No. At this point, I'm fairly happy to just pass it along it. I did not know Shadow Cleaver had an actual usefulness. Because
That's good.
I always had a jug of milk when I passed through that. And chucking the jug of milk into the fire would have just stopped the ritual. Alright, so the outlines
But
of
I
the...
won't have a sword now
Don't...
when I give the axe back.
Well, you're the warrior. When you will start a new adventure, will have a sword, so he can trade you.
But it's not the same.
It is not the same.
So we just could reset.
We could. But I want to see if we manage to beat the challenge at 3 people. Just for the heck of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a group decision. If you just want to go back in order for the trickster to keep his sword and the warrior to maybe live, we can do that. But then again, each time a character died, we basically went on until the arc.
Continue.
You'll have normal sword, Trickster. It's okay. Or if you really wish to at that point, I mean, you could always have the one of the mage.
I already threw it away for a long time ago.
Oh.
The outlines of the room fade away. You stand in nothingness for a moment, a vast infinity of mist. Gradually sounds drift to your ears, the clash of weapons, the screams of dying men. Then these fade too, to be replaced by a steady, incessant thud. It is like the beating of a huge heart, relentless and rhythmic, growing closer, louder, until you are almost deafened. Then, as a sound begins to form around you, you realize it is not the beating of a heart at all. You are standing in the pit of an arena. The noise you thought was a huge heartbeat is the cacophonous chanting of the ghoulish crowds who have come to see you fight. Turn to 508. 508. The arena is bathed in an eerie greenish light from several lanterns set on posts on the walls. The eager crowds that squat in the tiered seat look unpleasantly unhuman, more like giant insects wrapped in dark cloaks, rubbing their thin hands and calling in a droning chant for your blood. As the chanting lulls into a sinister murmur, you turn to face the royal dais that overlooks the arena. An old man stands there, a person of sneering lip and baleful eye. He raises a glowing staff, the light of which throws him into stark relief while the rest of the scene seems cloudy and dim. You notice a crown of ice or crystal set in his wrinkled grey brow. His brittle voice silences the last hushed murmurs of the crowd. "This is the realm of Wyrd, where I have ruled for centuries," he cries, pointing to you. "You have presumed to invade my sovereign land. You have sown discord among my subjects. You have entered my Palace of Eternal Dusk, hoping to slay me." He lowers his voice and stares straight at you. "Such foolishness. Do you think others have not tried to assassinate me? A rightful ruler is never without enemies. And where are those would-be murderers now? Those misbegotten villains who hoped to bury their blades in my royal heart? Why, they are here. They come now to teach you the lesson they have learned." He frowns and spreads his hands. Something pokes up out of the ground some distance ahead of you. It is a bony white hand, twitching as it finds purchase for his grip. Small mounds erupt everywhere as things long buried claw their way up to the dust. Then the dry earth of the arena cracks apart, and skeletons wearing rusty armor burst to the surface. More and more of them spill out in the open until a numberless horde of the creatures surges grimly forwards to attack you. If you have the battle standard of the First Salentine Legion, turn to 25. Yes, we do. That was all worth it. Yeah, without it, would have been an uphill battle, even with 4 people.
You mean what we just retrieved from the big challenge?
Yeah. The Warlock King has summoned an army of skeletons to slay you. Against such overwhelming odds, there seems no hope. You will be impaled helplessly on their spears as soon as they reach you. As you back away, looking desperately to and fro for an escape route that you know does not exist, the battle standard begins to pulse with light. The cowled figures rise from their tiered seat, uttering a gasp of horror, and begins to shrink back into the shadows. You have no idea what is happening, but you seize the battle standard and brandish it above your head. As you do, you are washed in glory. The ghosts of ancient generals from the halcyon days of Silentium whisper to you. "Be worthy of the eagle," they say. You look at the battle standard, shining with unbearable light in your hands. Even the Warlock King takes a step back as he sees it, shielding his eyes with his long sleeve. The skeletons falter uncertainly, but the proud glory of the First Legion is enhanced, not dimmed by the centuries that have passed since Silentium fell. And no legion would ever allow its standard to be taken in battle. Ghostly troops form between you and the advancing skeletons. They gradually become real. Ranks of reincarnated legionaries stand awaiting your command. 178. Check your character sheets for the items you are carrying. If you have any of the following, turn on to the appropriate paragraph. Check the item in this order. Do we have the Art of Dark? Yes, we do. Because the trickster picked it up. 405.
Yeah.
Even the dauntless First Legion of Imperial Silentium cannot hope to prevail alone against the countless unliving warriors that the Warlock King has called up from the ground. Fortunately, it seems that they will not have to fight alone. The Heart of the Dark begins to throb in your grip, spilling black blood into the sand by your feet. Gradually, the blood begins to give off a dark miasma, which solidifies in the form of heavy-set men-at-arms in sable livery. The Battalion of Shadow stands ready to receive your commands. Note that you have the Battalion of Shadows on your side, and then delete the Art of Dark from your character sheet. Please, Trickster, do that.
Sorry, what do I have on my side?
The Battalion of Shadow. Battalion? Yeah, I think it's how it's pronounced. Do you know how to write down battalion?
Yes.
Okay, just in case, is in the chat. Now we get back. Do we have an ivory drinking horn? Yes, we do. I picked it up. 31. The light radiating from the battle standard illuminates the ivory drinking horn, which starts to glow. A swirl of red-tinged maid spits out of it, and where this torrent strikes the ground, it gives rise to huge barbarian warriors. They glare at the advancing skeletons and chew their shields, eager to enter the fray. Now that you have note that you now have the berserker things on your side. The drinking horn vanishes, so delete it from your character sheet, then turn back to 178. Trickster, could I leave you in charge of noting that Barbarians of Thegn? Well, actually, I'm writing it down on the chat, so at this point, no need for doing that. I will also remove the ivory drinking horn because, well, of course, we've summoned the barbarians. Okay, now, do we have a white-fletched arrow? I don't think we do.
Nope.
We do not.
Do we have the teeth of a hydra?
Nope.
Do we have a Thurifer's censer?
Nope.
Do we have checkers pieces with the Elf Lord's rune on it?
Yes.
That is great. 292.
I have the one that is radiating after the game. Yes.
Yep. What was it the Elf Lord said? When you contend against the final foe, the sorcery of mine shall aid you. The playing pieces are shining with bright green light now. You catch a scent of pine and woodland blossom. Hurling the pieces down into the dust, you are not entirely surprised when they are transformed into full-size elfish knights astride their war horses. Horses and riders alike are caparisoned in vivid green, and their weapons and the fittings of their harness are of silver, not iron. The Warlock King snorts at this sorcery. "Fey fighters," he laughs coldly. "My troops are not afraid of elfin swords." But you notice that despite his words, his brow is now furrowed in consternation. He is not sure that his power is great enough to deal with the reinforcements you have summoned on your side. Note that you now have the Knights of the Wildwood to fight for you. Delete the playing pieces from your character sheet, then turn to 21. So, on the chat...
I did have Incoma used, so if we go victorious, I'll remove both my bedroll as well as the piece.
The Knights of the Wildwood is another battalion which is helping us. Alright. Once you have checked the effect of all the items you have, or if you don't have any of these items, turn to 21. Now you must determine the troop strengths of the forces you have gathered to fight for you against the Legion. So the Imperial Silentine 1st Legion have a troop strength of 4, which we have. The Battalion of Shadow have a troop strength of 4, which adds up to 8. The Knights of the Wildwood have a troop strength of 3, which adds up to 11. The Berserker things have a troop strength of 3, which adds up to 14. And the rest of it, we don't have. So 14th of strength. Add up the troop strength. This gives the total troop strength of your army. Now pray that it is enough to overcome the Warlock's King skeletal fighters. If the total troop strength is 13th or more, turn to 359. That is great because, well, it is 13 or more. 359. You give the order to advance, and your army storms forward to attack the Warlock's King's creatures. You command a motley but powerful force, and the skeletons stand no chance against it. The first wave of the charge breaks the undead ranks, and in moments you see old bones being trampled underfoot in the press of the melee. A skull caught on a spear tip flies through the air and lands at your feet. You kick it aside and stride towards on the dais where the Warlock King stands. Turn to 300. So we basically bypassed the whole fight, and I did not even know that we could have the Art of the Dark this way. That's great, I will now know it.
Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Totally.
Well, at least your blade did have a use.
Yeah, absolutely. Shadow Cleaver has been used wisely.
I do not even imagine the freaking stat of that thing.
With measured tread, you advance on the Warlock's King's dais. He fixes you with a bitter glare as you step up in front of him. These games have gone on long enough, he shrieks. Now behold the power of the King of Wyrd! He brings his thin hand together and a thunderous crack splits the air. Like a breaking mirror, the scene around you shatters into a million fragments. Turn to 15. The Warlock King chooses some breathtaking locations for his battles. You are now clinging to a rod of cold metal, somewhere where the wind whistles cold and raw. You try to take in the details of where you are. You are holding on to a tenuous network of metal rods, like a giant web in the sky. You see only a limitless blue haze running into the distance all around. Looking down, you can just make out a few wispy clouds hundreds and hundreds of meters below. The Warlock King sits in the center of the web. His huge crystal throne is set in the cold sky. He still wears his crystal crown, and hung around his neck on a cord you now see the item you have come so far to obtain, the hilt of the blood swords. He sees you looking at it, and his aged face twits into a brittle smile. A precious talisman indeed. It guarantees my sovereignty from the Magi, so I have no intention of parting with it. Perhaps you are willing to part with the scabbard, though? You know enough not to do that. If you threaten to drop the scabbard, turn to 307. If you use an item, turn to 282. If you clamber along the web to attack him, turn to 530.
Threatened to drop the scabbard? What?
We are in his dream realm. I never tried this option, but I'm fairly sure it will not work because we are in his realm. So if you drop it, he might just take it.
No, not doing that.
Can we try to use an item, see what we have?
Okay. Let's check. So, trying to use an item, 282. Alright. Which item do you think will help you? An iron bell, a gold ring, or a wolf's head clasp? We have 2 of these items, I think. Anybody actually took the wolf's head clasp?
I don't think so.
I did not.
I had it on my my character sheet, but I think I removed it.
Ah, you removed it later. Okay, later on. Okay.
But it's supposed to be there. I just forgot to put it back.
Maybe you removed it when your inventory space was reduced to 8.
Nope.
Okay.
I forgot to put it back like 2 games ago because it's the one thing I forgot
But just
about.
to let you know, it was the clasp that we got on the werewolves which we slain at the beginning of the book. So, now we only have one of these items, the Iron Bell. Do we use it?
Sure.
It was given us by the seer, and if I recall our words, it was to make away with the old and make place for the new. If I understand, it was about what she was saying. So, do we use it?
Yeah.
As well.
Okay. 460. You brandish the bell. The Warlock King's mouth begins to curl into a contemptuous sneer, but as you start to ring the bell, his expression changes to one of horror. With each resounding knell, deep cracks appear across his crystal throne. Desist! He screams, jumping to his feet. Thousands of images whirl through the skies around you, seeming to flit like phantoms out of the breaking thrones. You shake the iron bell with all your might. Suddenly, the Warlock King's arms drops to his side, and he gives you a look of resignation. It is over. As he speaks those words, the crystal crown upon his brow bursts into 1,000 fragments. Turn to 62. You are lying on grass beside a lake. You sit up and look around. The lake looks disturbingly familiar, very like the one on which the Palace of Eternal Dusk was built. But there is no sign of that proud edifice, only a broken and weathered ruin overgrown with a profusion of ivy. And the lake you saw earlier was stagnant and foul. The one is clear as fresh. It sparkles in the sunlight. But if this is somehow the same lake, then behind you should be, you turn expecting to find the somber forest of thorns, but the soaring pines bear no resemblance to those evil briars. A shadow falls upon you in the warm sun. You jump to your feet, ready for combat, but it is not Griston the guardian beast this time. A woman with a gentle smile and wise eyes stands before you, leading a dazed old man by the hand. She reaches out to take something from around his neck and offers this to you. You look down at the object. It is the blood-sword hilt. You start to thank her, but she and the old man are already walking away across the lush grass. He stares at her as though befuddled at first, but then she says something and you hear him break into delighted laughter. Your quest for the hilt is now successfully completed. Surviving players can divide equally among them in a word of 1,000 experience points, meaning we each get 333.33 experience points. Let's just round it down to 333.
I'm taking the hilt.
Of course you do.
And I take no XP whatsoever.
Well, you still go up a level, by the way. In your next book, you will be 4th rank. You return south, finding the same story all around. The country of Wyrd seems to have woken at last from out of a nightmare. The people who last night went to sleep in a world of poverty and pain now find themselves awakening onto a verdant and bountiful land. The Armigers and Solons, agent of the Warlock King's authority, cast their armor and judicial maces into the hedgerows to rust. The sound of laughter and song rings out through the lands once more. A few days later, you are sitting beside a fire in the midst of a majestic pine forest. The happy folks of Wyrd cavort around in dances to appease the spirits of winter. The festival was a grim one in past years, when the winters were bleak and cold, but now the evening is mild and pleasant. Night and winter no longer seem as terrible as they once did. You are reminded by the scene of the forester's camp where your adventure began. You find your eyes fixed on the blood-sword hilt and scabbard where they glitter beside the campfire. Your quest has not ended yet, for you still have to find the final section of the sword, its blade. Where will that stage of your adventure take you? Find out in the 3rd book in the series, The Demon's Claw. And such concludes the end of the 2nd book.
Sweet.
Ooh, we finally did it.
It almost seems like I'm expendable. I mean, you get no downside of me dying there.
Well, here's the thing. We did not have any fight after that.
Yeah.
If we didn't have
might have
the item,
cheesed
Sorry?
the
If we
entire
didn't-
ending.
Sorry?
yeah, if we didn't have the item, it would have gone a wire for sure.
Yeah.
Alright. So let's deal with the warrior first. I will tell you what your stats will be on the next run. But in the meantime, I will stop the recording. And I will wish any watcher a wonderful evening.